now we reserve the best for the last. Dr. Sunita, who is a very versatile surgeon, and she has a maximum experience in something which we see very frequently, secondary angle closure glaucomas. Over to you, Dr. Sunita. Mic, audio vision, please.
Hello?
Yeah.
So surgical and non-surgical options in secondary angle closure glaucomas. So as we know, secondary angle closure glaucoma occurs due to ocular or systemic conditions, either pulling or pushing the iris forward. It can be without pupillary block or with pupillary block, and we have so many conditions which are associated with secondary angle closure glaucoma. So since it's a very vast topic, I'll be just covering a few of them. Neovascular glaucoma is one of the commonest glaucomas we've seen, and we know the most common causes. It is because of the retinal ischemia leading to angiogenic factors release, NVI, NVA, formation of fibrovascular membrane, and then leading to complete angle closure. So most of the advanced neovascular glaucomas, when they come to us, they have very high intraocular pressure, NVI extensively, and with ectropion, uvea, and completely closed angles. So the management goals is to control the retinal ischemia and control of intraocular pressure with control of inflammation. So basically it's a co-management by the glaucoma and retina specialists. So most of these patients often require maximal medical therapy, and the pressures are still not controlled with that, and sometimes we have to resort to cyclodestructive procedures, graded cyclo TSC-PC or micropulse to control intraocular pressure so that we can perform PRP before taking up the patient for definitive glaucoma surgeries. So as far as the surgical management is concerned, trabeculectomy or glaucoma drainage implants can be done. Success of trabeculectomy has improved with the use of MMC, prior good PRP, ARC, and intravitreal anti-VEGF injections. However, long-term success is not so good, and failure could be because of the severe inflammation and hyphema. So I would like to discuss this case who had bilateral NVG with uncontrolled glaucomas, and this patient had this epithelial defect. Both eyes had persistent epithelial defect. He had on maximum medical therapy, and even conservative management was not effective. So after doing the trabeculectomy was combined with the AMG in this patient. So after doing trabeculectomy, the epithelium was peeled off and cauterized so as to remove the epithelium completely, and then AMG was placed over the cornea, and the fibrin glue was used to stick the AMG over the cornea. So in both the eyes, the surgery was performed. As you can see, the fibrin glue was used. So this patient did really well post-operatively, and after this contact lens was applied. So this patient has been following up with me, and the epithelium is completely healed, and he's been doing well in both eyes with good vision and IOP controlled on 1 or 2 medications. GDD is widely used in neovascular glaucoma patients, and this particular patient, after failed TRAB, the AGV was done. AGV is preferred because you want to reduce the pressure immediately, and one has to remember that the insertion of tube is very important, and the tube should be inserted. You can't, because of the extensive PAS, you can't insert the tube into the anterior chamber. So this step is very, very important, and this will allow safe surgery. Another common condition is ICE syndrome, and we know it's a spectrum of diseases which is characterized by corneal endothelial abnormalities, and we see all kinds of disease in the spectrum, and in India we see a lot of essential iris atrophy. So this particular patient, young female patient, the right eye was more or less normal, but left eye had ICE syndrome with iris holes, stretched iris, correctopia, polychoria, and broad-based PAS all around, as you can see. So TRAB was done, and even aqueous sample was sent for CMV, which was found to be negative. So the TRAB worked for 2 years, and then as we followed up the patient, we could see that these nodules, developed over a period of time. That means the disease was progressing. So this is a progressive disease, and that is why over a period of time the pressure control is also lost, and the pressure also became very high. She underwent micropulse, and then we advised her tube implant. So if you look at literature, the long-term surgical outcome of these patients is not so good, and multiple procedures are often needed to control intraocular pressure and even keratoplasty. The third condition is malignant glaucoma. Again, we see them a lot. And here you have to rule out the pupillary block glaucoma, and there is axial shallowing of the anterior chamber. It is secondary to the incisional surgery after angle closure glaucoma. UBM is diagnostic. So we know the principles of management of malignant glaucoma. To begin with, we start with the medical therapy. Cycloplegia is a must. We use a combination of atropine and phenylephrine, and if they do not respond to medical therapy, then if the patient is pseudophakic, we try laser hyalodotomy and disruption of the anterior hyaloid phase with laser capsulotomy. You can even do TSC-PC. At the last resort, you can do vitrectomy. In phakic patient, you have to remove the lens and vitrectomy. This particular patient again was referred to us, was a case of malignant glaucoma not responding to medical therapy. So we did IZHV, which is now getting very popular, and this, as you can see, through the iridectomy, we did the zonulectomy and hyalodectomy, and however, to our surprise, the AC was still shallow. But when we carefully examined the patient, there was a membrane which was covering this iridectomy, and we did YAG iridotomy or membranectomy to relieve or to release the block, and then the patient did very well. So this procedure, literature also suggests that in pseudophakic eyes, IZHV was associated with pure recurrences. Uveitic glaucoma is again common, and these are the conditions which we seen routinely, and again the management to start with is a medical management, and patient later stages develop PAS, maybe complete PAS and iris bombay, and sometimes there is edema of ciliary body and anterior rotation of the ciliary body. So management to begin with is medical management, YAG, ND-YAG, PI for iris bombay, and then you can perform any of these surgeries. Tube implants are preferred procedures. Trabeculectomies should be avoided in patients with active inflammation, neovascularization. MIGS again can be used. This was one patient with uveitic glaucoma. So goniosynechiolisis was done. So just separated the synechia with iris repositor, and then KDB was performed. So these procedures are said to be effective in uveitic glaucoma, which are not very advanced and which are associated with cataract. So I cannot cover everything, but yeah, in PK, just one thing is that it is common even after DSAC, and chronic synechial angle closure can be the cause of long-standing glaucoma. To begin with, we start with the medical management, and surgical management. You can do trap, tube, anything. So traps have better long-term survival. However, tubes have better IOP control. Cyclodestructive procedure sometimes we have to resort to. However, after doing any kind of invasive procedure, it needs to be remembered that there is increased risk of intraocular inflammation and graft failure. So whenever you are doing any surgical procedure, you have to step up the steroids and continue the steroids for long. And TSC-PC, if you have to, you decide, do it in a titrated way to reduce the risk of hypotony and inflammation. So to conclude, management of secondary angle closure glaucoma focuses on addressing the underlying cause while controlling the inflammation and intraocular pressure. And of course, because there are so many conditions, a tailored approach should be based depending on the etiology and disease severity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sunita, for covering